Hello, my name is Dan Irvin, Executive Director for the Greater Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to another edition of Business Builders Corner. Our first guest today is Margo Gorchow, the Vice President of Community Relations and the Director of the Botsford Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out today. We
I
appreciate
appreciate being here.
So we know you're celebrating your 50th year.
Yes.
And it's very exciting. I myself am a Botsford baby, so it's very.
I thought you looked familiar.
Yeah, it's very exciting to have you here. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the changes that
Yes.
Botsford's outgoing or about to undergo. So there's been a lot of consolidation in the healthcare industry. Why did Botsford choose to enter an affiliation with Beaumont and Oakwood?
Well, when a hospital makes a decision, an independent hospital, to go the route of affiliation, there are several pieces you want to look at on the table. I would think the first would be culture and looking at how the organizations will fit together. You want to know what about this organization will make us stronger and what about us will make them stronger. What is each of us bringing to the table? What are our mission, our values, our vision for the future? How we see growth in terms of care for communities, obviously for individuals, how we can grow and sustain the medical and nursing profession as well as allied health. So those were just a few of the elements. Conversation went on for quite a bit of time.
Okay.
But I think probably most of the people in Michigan have seen that your independent hospital is really a phenomenon of yesterday and won't be something that they see in the future.
Now, Botsford is known as a staple in the community for both Farmington and Farmington Hills and services those in the surrounding communities very thoroughly. And one of the big questions we have is community-oriented, as Botsford Hospital has been in the past. What's the direction now with this merger? How is that being handled? That's something that I'm asked on a regular basis too.
And I am as well.
I can only imagine.
We really do not see that changing. As I've said, our name may change, our color may change, but the values and the infrastructure of those values that Botsford has sustained for 50 years will not change. The community is part of who we are, and we've enjoyed a wonderful relationship, and we hope to continue to further that. What I see as a member of the community relations team is a wonderful opportunity for growth and some exchange of resources, exchange of ideas. We're all committed now by the Affordable Care Act to do a community health needs assessment. We've had a lot of conversation about that and how we can provide a synergy to looking at improving the health of our communities.
And we've only worked together for a short time, me coming on in October, and I know you've been involved with this organization for a little
31
bit.
years.
31 years now. Congratulations. And
Well, thank you.
And I can tell you that it is appreciated, all the work under the direction of Dr. Lacasse and individuals such as yourself. But really, the community buy-in is there, and it really stands out, and we appreciate that.
Well, thank you for saying that.
Thank you. So what's next for Botsford?
Well, as we're working towards our name change, and that will probably be something that will be the first visible change to the communities, or at least those driving by Grand River. Mm-hmm. So what our name is now is going to be Beaumont Farmington Hills. And all of the 8 hospitals affiliated as part of Beaumont will have the same name. So it may be Beaumont Dearborn, Beaumont Troy. And what that is working to do is to build a brand.
Sure.
And to have that brand be consistent throughout the rather large geographic footprint that is occupied by Beaumont. I think the other thing you'll be hearing about is we have always been in a bit of a landlocked situation. As you said, we're celebrating our 50-year anniversary, and we have patient rooms that were built in 1965. Well, treatment, patient care equipment, and patients are different now and require additional space. So we are about to embark on a very significant building project that will involve a new patient tower and have a majority of private rooms when we're done available to patients and their families. In addition, an expanded emergency department. We're one of the largest emergency centers in Oakland, at least in terms of volume, not in terms of space, and we need to make that change, particularly being a verified trauma center. Need expanded surgical room. Surgical equipment now includes robots and includes technology that simply you have to have this footprint for.
Okay, now, how many rooms are you adding with this expansion?
We're actually not adding, well, excuse me, I heard that as beds. We're not really adding beds. We have a license for 330 beds.
Okay. So this expansion then just will expand on the items that you just discussed. So the ER, some of the operating rooms, bringing in better technology to those. Okay.
And the tower will be new rooms, but won't build the population of patients.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. When do you think the name change will roll out? When do you anticipate that to happen?
Fall.
The fall?
I believe.
Fall of this year, so people can look for that in the fall of this year.
Right. So what you will see on the sign will not be Beaumont Farmington Hills, because we're going to make an assumption that people know that it's Farmington Hills. What you will see sort of links to our legacy, which is Beaumont Botsford campus.
Okay.
Will be on the sign.
So like the founding organizations, Beaumont Health is a not-for-profit company. What is the advantage of a not-for-profit healthcare system?
Well, symbolically, our shareholders, unlike for-profit companies, are our patients, our neighbors, our physicians, volunteers, employees, and those are the people that we make an investment in terms of both their experience as a patient or experience as an employee. As a not-for-profit, all your revenue is returned into the organization, and it's in everyone's best interest that there is revenue, because that supports employee education, supports benefits that are competitive in the marketplace, supports non-reimbursable activities. So for example, all of our community outreach is what I would refer to as a non-reimbursable activity that needs to be supported through revenue that comes into the organization.
Okay, we just so everybody knows, the hours of operation are 24 hours.
24/7,
7 days
365.
a week, 365, wonderful. And we've talked on a lot today, and you've got a lot of good and exciting things going on at Botsford Hospital, and the 50th year, the expansion, the merger. Is there anything else that you'd like to let everybody know? Anything else that you might want to touch on?
I think one of the questions we often heard, I know Dr. Lacasse certainly did, was, will Botsford stay being an independent hospital? And I think that this new relationship, this integration of Beaumont, Oakwood, Botsford, guarantees to the communities that surround us, we're here, we're going to stay, we're going to continue to bring technology to this community, technology that supports patient care, supports the needs of our community, and I think that's going to be wonderful to look forward to in the future.
Great, thank you. Thanks for being here with us today, Margo. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Dan.
Thank you. And we'll be right back. We're here today to celebrate the grand opening of the Riviera Cinema.
It's been 5 years we've been trying to do this to the theater. We started this process probably almost a year ago. The support that we've gotten from the city has just been beyond what we could have ever imagined, and without them we wouldn't be here today. Now it's open to the public. We hope you guys enjoy it.
This is the only movie theater in Farmington Hills. I didn't get to do a tour yet. Ken has, and he said it was just unbelievable on the inside. It's going to be a different type of movie experience.
Go
All right,
for
guys,
it, Eli.
go ahead.
Go like that. Ready?
You help now.
Welcome back. Joining us now is Ruth Daniels, managing partner of the Riviera Cinema. It's located at 9 Mile and Middlebelt. Welcome, Ruth.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. Everybody knows that you've purchased the theater at 9 in Middle Belt, and you've done some sizable investment into that to bring that up to date. And I'm excited to have you on the show today, work through that. Why don't we talk about first is what led you to pick that location?
Well, I don't know if you know the history of the location, but
I'd like to hear that.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was originally the Grand River Drive-In, at least in my lifetime, and we used to go there when I was a little kid. And then they developed it and made it into the West River Shopping Center, and United Artists built a theater in there. They ran it for several years until basically Star Southfield opened and kind of leveled all the theaters within a 20-mile radius. They didn't level the building. Phoenix Theaters took over, ran it for several years, and then Dipson took over about 5 years ago. And then Dipson and the Maple Theater, which I'm a partner in, decided to go and make a luxury theater there.
Okay, so how is the Riviera unique to any other movie theater?
Well, it's unique to any other movie theater, especially around here. Across the country, and I do this a lot, I go to movie theaters across the country because I love movies. There is a change in movie theaters right now, luxury theaters, and that's what the Riviera is. It's a luxury experience. So what you're going to get there is when you reserve your ticket, you'll know exactly where you're going to sit. You get a luxury recliner, which is not like any other seat you're going to find anywhere else close by. Then we have cocktails, we have an enhanced concession stand, and people will even serve you at your seat during specific movies.
Also, let's talk about the cocktails. So you have a full bar in the theater?
Yes, we do.
Serves beer, liquor, anything you can imagine.
Beer, wine, martini, yeah, you can get anything you want, even like a mudslide.
Wonderful. So it's really full circle. You can do it's more of an experience than just going to watch a movie.
Definitely. And when it comes to movie theaters today, the only thing that differentiates most of them is the experience, because there's lots of great movie theaters, especially in Michigan. And in fact, we have so many independent chains here that we have more good movie theaters than most places.
So most people talk about the death of movie theaters with the surge of movies being available on VOD and other methods. Do you see this as a threat to a traditional movie theater?
Well, it's so funny because I've been asked this question a lot, and they thought TV was going to kill movie theaters. It didn't. Then came VHS and cable and DVD. Didn't die. Now we've got VOD, and the fact is, unless there's an apocalypse, people are going to go to the movies, because what's happening is it's the least expensive form of entertainment. And where is a 16-year-old going to take his date? And even though you can watch a movie at home, doesn't mean you want to. I mean, do you have a kitchen in your house? Yeah, how often do you go out to eat? So
Right.
It's the same kind of a thing.
That's a very good point. So we've mentioned now how theaters are a little bit different, but how have they changed in recent years? How do they transition to this point?
Well, probably even when you were a child, and you're pretty young, movie theaters were basically sloped floors with pretty still seats, right? Okay. So then in the 60s and 70s, we had multi-screen theaters, so we had the multiplex, which the same seats and everything like that. The 80s, they brought more concessions, and now you could take your pop inside and everything else. And then in the 90s came Stadium and the high-backed rockers and the Megaplex, which AMC started, and like Star Southfield was one of the first in the country. And then everybody followed, and pretty much all over the place you can go to a stadium theater like that, and that was pretty much run-of-the-mill. Now the luxury concept comes in with these recliners, with seatside service, with cocktails, and that's where we are today.
All right, Ruth, I had a chance to visit the theater and take my family to see one of the movies that you just launched earlier this spring. It was a wonderful experience. One of the things that I wanted to bring up was the soda machines in your lobby, and that's very unique, and they're not everywhere. Why don't you tell everybody about those?
It's called Coca-Cola Freestyle, and you can make 100+ recipes in that machine. So you buy your drink, basically the size of the cup you want. You go up to this machine, and let's say you decide you want a Diet Coke. You push Diet Coke, but then it gives you like 6 choices to put flavors in there, like cherry, lime, lemon, orange, and then you can design it any way you want. And you can do this with every drink we have: ginger ale, root beer, Sprite, and it's amazing.
That is great. It was a good experience.
Was
And those seats that you mentioned too, to watch a movie in a leather recliner, it was a great experience for us.
It's almost as if we're recreating your living room comfort with the chair, but you're watching it on the big screen at a movie theater.
With you're at 7.1 surround in your theater. That's the top of the line, and then
Absolutely.
it's a great picture, great sound, a great experience. We haven't touched on one of the things that you have a special auditorium for events. Can you tell us about some of these types of events and what you can do at the Riviera?
Sure. And I should tell you, you don't only have to have an event in this smaller auditorium because you could take over the building if you want. Of course, it costs money, but it can be done. So I just want to explain that. But auditorium number 1, which we call the screening room, has up to 50 seats. It's got all recliners, and then it has couches and chairs and even a bar rail. We can set up a buffet and a bar in the back right inside, so it's like a stadium box. For 50 of your closest friends or your colleagues, you can have a great corporate event, a 40th birthday party, whatever you want. We can show a PowerPoint. We can put up a DVD, a collage of you as a baby. I mean, whatever you want.
Sure. How many screens do you have in the theater total?
9.
9, and what are the hours of operations?
We open about 10 a.m. every day and close approximately 11 o'clock most days.
Are you open on every day, holidays?
365 days a year, all holidays, weekends, and evenings. We're here to entertain when you're not busy.
We've covered a lot today. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
I just hope everybody comes out to see a movie at the Riviera because it'll be the best experience they ever have, and they won't go anywhere else.
I tell you, I've had a great time, and you're the only theater in Farmington Hills, too.
Yes, we are, and the only luxury theater for
Farmington
miles.
Yeah, absolutely. So go out and visit them. They're at 9 Mile and Middle Belt. It's the Riviera Cinema. Ruth, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
We are so excited to have Cake Love downtown Farmington. You have great product. It's a family business. Every time you walk by, you're there smiling, waving. We want you to be here for a long time.
It takes a lot of courage to open your own business and have your own storefront, so congratulations. It's remarkable.
Felicia, welcome to the city of Farmington. You're making it a lot sweeter than it already was.
Oh, nice.
We're very excited to have you here.
Well, I just want to thank all of you guys for your support. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. And I look forward to doing business down here for years to come.
Welcome back. Joining us now is Barbara Roden, owner of Senior Helpers. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara, why don't we start and tell us a little bit about your business, the nature of your business, and what it is that you do.
All right. So Senior Helpers is a business that provides in-home care, primarily for seniors, people in their older ages, and yet we also do assist people that are younger, and we help them in their homes with things like companionship and personal care.
Okay, and you're in Farmington Hills. You're located off of Orchard Lake, just north of 12 Mile on the east side of the road.
Exactly.
And how long have you been in Farmington Hills?
8 years. So we
8 years.
started the business 8 years ago, and that was our first location.
Look, wonderful. So you stuck in Farmington Hills through the 8 years. Congratulations.
Plan to stay even longer.
Great. And why did you choose Farmington Hills for the location? What attracted you?
Well, we provide services throughout Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County. So when I looked west and east, Farmington was right in the middle, and they have great highway access. So they're right off, where we are is right off 696.
Right off 696. You
so
just
it's
jump
easy
on
for our caregivers to get there and interview with us.
Awesome. So what made you get into this type of business?
Well, I always wanted to have my own company. However, if we would look back on our lives, as many people do, and then look forward, never expected it to be home care, and I couldn't be more pleased with the decision. What happened is my father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. I was living out of state, and my mother was providing his care. So long distance, we were determining what we needed to do to help my father and give my mother a little bit of respite. And one of the things we learned about was home care. And 8 years ago, there weren't any companies that would come in and provide care for just 1 day a week for 3 hours, which at the beginning of a disease like Alzheimer's is often all that the caregiver needs. Is just a little bit of a break, and that's what my mom wanted. So then as we did find a company, but they came in several days, started to see their quality of care, and I was like, I think I can do this better. So I found the business I wanted to own, and it was home care, and I started it shortly thereafter.
Okay, that's a nice story. Thank you for
Thanks.
sharing that. I appreciate that. One of the questions we typically ask is what makes your business unique to the community, and your response is really neat. Why don't you tell people what makes your business unique?
Thank you. So one of the things that makes us unique is that 1 day a week, 3 hours of care. So as I mentioned, many businesses would not provide that limited of a service. Some families, that's all they can afford, and other people, that's all they need to start. So that 3 hours, 1 day a week is one of the unique things. And also we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In a moment's notice, we will come out and meet with a family. So if you were to call our phone number and say, help, the hospital just told me mom's going home this afternoon and we don't know what to do.
Sure.
We will go out even on a Saturday, Sunday, or an evening and immediately meet with the family, assess their situation, and find caregivers to come and help.
Barbara, while we're on the topic, what is that phone number if somebody wanted to call you?
248-865-1000.
What has been your biggest surprise in the 8 years of running your business?
Wow, yes. The biggest surprise is probably all the paperwork and the writing of documents and all those kinds of things is kind of the biggest hard thing for us to do.
Sure.
But the biggest surprise is the wonderful reward we get when we're providing these services and we get a thank you from our clients. It's just so rewarding. Today we just had a staff meeting with our internal team and somebody said they needed to go out and visit a woman who was having some difficulties, and she said, I got to the door and the woman was so kind and said, let me give you a hug, your staff helps me so much and I so appreciate it. And she said, I just was so warmed over. So that is something that is a surprise and a delight.
That's wonderful. What are the qualifications of your caregivers?
All of our caregivers have to have at least 1 year of experience providing care, and then we check their references to be sure that the care they've provided was good.
Okay.
We are insured and bonded as well, so we carry that liability. All of our caregivers have to have a valid driver's license, and we run a driving record on our caregivers and make sure there are no DUIs, no more than 3 moving violations, and we also run a national criminal background check each year.
So you do a thorough background check.
Yes.
So everybody who calls you would understand or should understand that you've done that preliminary work to make them feel even more comfortable.
Yes, it's one of the differentiators between hiring somebody all on your own and you don't really have that comfort of knowing they've been checked out. So we take that and do that for the families.
What is the process of starting services?
So someone would call our office, or you can send us an email through our website, which is www.seniorhelpersmi, so it's seniorhelpersmi4michigan.com. So you can either go one of those 2 ways, and when they call us, they'll tell us the situation of what they're looking for, and then we'll schedule a time to go out and do an assessment with the family, find out what the needs are, and we do that assessment, which is complimentary, so we can match the best caregiver to the family situation. And then once we meet with the family, we do talk about the hours that are needed and what the price would be and what day they would like to start. And then we write a care plan up based on that interview and then find the best caregiver to assist them.
One of the biggest questions you probably ask too all the time is, what does it cost for a caregiver?
Yes, we do get that question, and actually we tell them up front when they call us. We want them to know all the information when a family calls us. Our rates run between $19 and $24 an hour. And the reason for the range is because we don't know exactly the level of care that we need to provide, and our caregivers have different pay ranges. So we interview the family, as I mentioned. We find out if we're providing care for 2 people, which is going to be more expensive than 1 person, or are we providing care for just 1 person? Are we providing a very high personal level of care? Maybe they're on a catheter or they have a wound, or is it really just companionship, driving them to errands, fixing meals, and doing laundry?
So how do people pay for your services, and does Medicare cover any of the cost?
Excellent question. Many people think that these kinds of services, which are so helpful to a family as they age, Medicare would take care of it. So we always get the, well, I have Medicare answer, and Medicare does not cover these services. So Medicare will cover someone's services if they need help with physical therapy, occupational therapy, or more medical kind of care. But for these companion and personal care, they don't cover it unless immediately after a hospital stay, they'll do just 2 shower assists a week. So that's a different service. For our services, it is private pay, so someone needs to pay with cash, credit card, checks, or if they've had the planning and purchased long-term care insurance, Long-term care insurance covers it as well.
Okay. Do you partner with any of those companies to help those people?
Absolutely. We don't have any long-term care insurance that we can't take, so
Okay,
we will
good.
help them with that. Something I'd also like to add, if you wouldn't mind.
Please go ahead.
Veterans Aid and Attendance is another way to pay for our services. So if the listeners today are a veteran or their spouse is a veteran, there is a benefit that they may qualify for that we'll talk to them about called Veterans Aid and Attendance, and that would provide up to $2,000 a month to pay
Oh,
for
wow.
our services.
That's great. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. So, we've highlighted yours. What are some of the things that people should look for when they're searching and selecting a home care company?
Really important as they're making those calls to each of the different companies, or maybe they'll just call us. If you are, though, searching through different companies, have any of your friends used this company? Where was your referral coming from? Because if you've had friends or neighbors who've used the company, that's a great way to know if it's a legitimate company you want to work with. The other thing is, are they available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Because you don't know when you're going to need to call that company, either ask for more assistance, add a caregiver, maybe you want to make a change in caregivers. You don't want to get an answering machine.
Sure.
So I would make sure your company's available 24/7. And then some of the things that I mentioned that we have, you want to make sure another company has, such as, are they insured? Are they bonded? How do they check out their caregivers? And then the definite most important thing, if they have services with us, or they're asking a company, what if I have your services and I'm not pleased with a caregiver? It happens. We want everybody to be pleased. Tell us, and we will immediately, with no questions, find a different caregiver for you. You know, we're not in the home every day working with that family member and the caregiver. So when we call and say, how are things going, or you call us, you want a company that's going to stand behind you and understand that you simply want a different person and not give you grief and just find somebody different for you. That's really important.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing those tips. Are you currently hiring?
Yes.
You are hiring. What are you hiring for?
Yes. Oh my. If you are looking for a career and you have a caring heart and are very reliable, we definitely are looking for caregivers to provide these services to our families.
Okay.
So if somebody has experience, as I said, you need at least 1 year. It doesn't have to be in the plethora of services we provide. If you are more of a companion and can fix meals and do laundry and housekeeping, you've done that before. Or if you've provided the more higher level services like bed baths and showering assistance, we can hire for that. But in addition, right now, we do have some office positions. So due to our growth, we are looking right now to hire somebody that can do our payroll and invoicing, and also people that are called client care coordinators, and they work with our families finding the right caregiver and the right fit.
Wonderful.
So yeah, we're
So
hiring.
expansion mode.
Please,
Wonderful.
yes,
Wonderful.
absolutely.
Barbara, every interaction that you and I had personally through giving back to the community, you really focused on community development and giving back to the community. It's one of the things that I find very special about you. And,
Thank you.
and having you on the chamber is great. Is there anything else that you wanted to say about you personally or your business?
Well, thank you. Being involved in the community is huge for me, and we also are really big on education. So some of the things that we give back to the community is through continual training and education on dementia, for example. I'm on the Alzheimer's Association board, and we do speaking engagements, and we'll teach about the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's, when to take away the car keys. We'll do educational things within the community on what's the difference between Medicare, Medicaid. So being involved with the Alzheimer's Association, the chamber, doing education, those are all things that are really important to me.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Thank you for having me on.
And thank you for tuning in to this edition of Business Builders Corner. My name is Dan Irvin, the Executive Director for the Chamber. We always encourage you to shop Chamber members first. Thank you.